Have you ever felt like your emotions are running your life? Like you're the effect of all the ups and downs, your relationships, all the tornado of the hurricane of relationships? Well, I know for sure for many, many years I was. So if you are somebody who is ready to master your emotions, you definitely want to listen or watch this podcast. Welcome to the Dr. Erin Show. May you live your truth. Hi there, I am Dr. Erin, Doctor of Divinity and Master Spiritual Coach, and we are in a series of E4 Method. This particular episode I'm really excited to dive into because it's all about emotional mastery. And for me, I have always been an extremely emotional person, and I didn't understand. I was afraid of my emotions. I used to make myself wrong for being, having any negative emotions whatsoever. I used to try and spiritually bypass and try and get positive all the time. And for me, there was a moment in my journey when I was becoming a spiritual practitioner. And spiritual practitioner is all about, mastering your mind and getting focused on what you want to create and focusing on the positive when I went through it. And there was a day when my emotions were all over and I just couldn't handle, I was like, what is the deal? Right. And I began to realize that spiritually bypassing my emotions was never going to work. I could try and, think positive all day long, but it wasn't working and something had to change. And so really understanding the deeper dive into how emotions, what's going on with them, why do they come through, and how are they a blessing, knowing that everything in life is a blessing. So I really had to learn how to use my emotions instead of being used by my emotions. So let's talk about emotions for a minute. What are emotions, right? From a spiritual perspective, everything is created from the identity. The moment that source, the I am, your true consciousness, decides that it's anything or perceives itself to be anything other than the I am, it has a limited identity. It has a human identity, if you will, okay? So your identity actually creates your beliefs create your thoughts create your feelings, and your feelings create your emotions or what you're emoting in the world, and hence the circumstances of your life. All of life is a relationship. So emotions are really the guiding point. They're the GPS telling us that we're in alignment and we're in flow state, or we're in resistance and we're literally out of alignment, right? So many of the clients I work with that come in to get trained as practitioners and coaches in E4 method, they're dealing with their emotions. They're trying to figure out what their unique calling is. They're trying to, fix and change things in their relationships, or they're trying to get more money. And there is a battle. There's a battle going on with them, right? And they can try and get positive, and they've watched a lot of manifestation, programs and processes, but it's something's still missing. And for me, the same thing happened. And so there's a deeper dive into emotions. And I think that our culture really hasn't even talked so much about emotions and the blessing and what emotions are. And the moment that you resist something, you want life to be different, people to be different, you want to force things, you want whatever it is, it's against universal law. And hence, it's like driving a car. You're driving down with the brake on, right? It's not gonna, it's gonna, the car's gonna have issues, okay? If you have the emergency brake on and you're trying to drive, it's like, it's not quite working. And that's emotions. And we oftentimes will have emotions that come through, but we haven't learned how to use emotions. So how do you use emotions? Well, through the E4 emotional mastery method, what we're doing is we're taking the emotions and again, neutralizing them and then taking them into positivity. It's the guru within. We're taking the negative or dark emotion, we're neutralizing it, and then we're taking it into a positive emotion. So what we're actually doing is as we actually be with and communicate with the dark side of the emotion, really be with it and look at it, not evaluating it, but rather just being with it. Then it begins to come to a place where we're actually neutralizing it. We're birthing a new truth. So a good example of this, say that someone has asked you out to a lunch or something like that, and the person shows up an hour late to the lunch, and half an hour in waiting for them, you start getting really pissed off. You're upset. You're like, this is ridiculous, right? We would not want you to go, oh, just be okay with somebody being late for an hour. Instead, your emotion is telling you, I am somebody that doesn't like when somebody's an hour late to a lunch, right? It's just honoring the truth within you. You don't have to make that person wrong. You don't have to do anything. You literally can just decide, I'm going to live my truth. So again, going into this without actually going through the process, when we talk about things on here, these are concepts that we're doing here. And what I don't want you to do is take E4 and think that you got it with just some concept around it. The process itself, we ask repetitively over and over again certain things that help the consciousness really be with the emotion. So I'm going to talk to you about the four E's of understanding emotions, but it's not the actual process, okay? So for example, the first E is, of course, experience. What does that mean exactly? It means going from resistance to a flow state. So simply notice, where are you resisting versus where are you allowing? So say someone's late to lunch for an hour. You don't need to make them wrong. You don't need to tell them why that's right or wrong. You literally can just listen to what you're resisting. So where could you release control and where could you get into flow, right? You have to accept this person exactly as they are. There's somebody who's an hour late to lunch. So I either accept it, and I know that if I'm going to hang out with this person, there's a possibility when I go to lunch with them or do anything, they could become an hour late. Or I can go, you know what? We're just live in a different universe, and I'm going to do this because this is my truth, and I choose to be around people who are not an hour late to lunches. It's very simple, but we complicate it. We want to resist, we want to change, we want to force, and all that good stuff. So the first step at E4 is just experiencing it, noticing where you're resisting versus where you're in flow state. The second step is evaluation, which means no evaluation. So again, this is going from judgment to just acceptance. Instead of trying to evaluate it, really just accepting what is. So looking at where are you judging yourself, others, or making anyone wrong, or trying to change yourself in order to accept other people. And this is a process of really accepting people, places in life exactly as they are. The third step is emotions. Really, instead of going from the effect of the emotions of, I'm so pissed off, this person is an hour late to lunch, rather understanding that I am creating this emotion of being pissed off because this isn't in alignment with my truth. So, really shifting from being the effect of the emotions to really understanding where they're caused, and we get to create new emotions. Asking myself, where do I feel like I'm a victim of my circumstances? And asking myself, how can I become the cause and the creator of my life? Well, I'm somebody that wants to create going to lunch with people who show up on time. So I'm not going to try and fix or force this person. I'm going to choose to put myself in environments around people who are their word and show up in integrity. I don't have to make this person wrong. I don't have to get into an argument. I literally just get to follow my flow. And then the final E is enlightenment, really looking at where do I feel divided versus divine. So again, how can I return to truth and remember my divinity? So it may take that I actually, have to pray for this person, pray for my knowing the perfection of who they are, not judging them again. And this is not the actual process. We have a process of transforming the emotion through a very specific way. But this is the bigger picture of what actually happens through E4 emotional mastery method is these four E's, really experiencing it, accepting people through just really non-evaluation, feeling whatever emotions are there and transforming those emotions, and enlightenment, really declaring yourself in your divine state of the creator that you are and seeing everybody as a perfection as they are as well. So the most amazing thing shifted for me years ago with emotions. Instead of, trying to resist them instead of being afraid of them. Now, if I'm upset or I'm sad or I'm feeling any confusion or whatever emotion is there, whatever feeling or even emoting of that feeling in my emotions, I'm now like, wow, there's a truth birthing in me, right? So anytime I'm feeling, upset about something, it's because this is my truth and it's directing me, it's propelling me into this direction, right? Or say I'm sad and lonely, it's because that's not my truth, is to not be sad and lonely and isolated. This is telling me I need to, get out here and create what is my truth, being surrounded by people I love, being engaged in community, whatever that is. So every emotion that's coming through is helping propel me to live my truth. So the beautiful thing about E4 emotional mastery method is it transforms the emotion and actually energizes the client so that they know their truth and they live in alignment and they're declaring that new truth and they're taking deeply inspired action. So, bottom line, we are emotional beings because we put meaning on things. We are meaning making machines, and it's a beautiful thing to be able to create emotions. But what we want to create emotions around is actually what we want. So, when we energize visions, when we energize what we actually desire in life, and then put meaning around it and feel the feeling, energize it with joy and all those things and conviction, and really doing all. We even do affirmative mind treatment, and we use our anger to declare the truth of what we want. So the big transformation with emotional mastery is no longer being the fact of emotions, but choosing to create emotions that actually are energizing what we choose to create instead of resisting what we don't want. And that's the real big shift. Knowing that emotions are working for us because they're directing us to live our truth. So E4 emotional mastery is one of the processes we use. Again, it's after you've done your deep work. You want to learn how to master emotions, but you really truly first want to heal your past. You want to do your current life regressions, your past life regressions, and really get those big boulders out of just energy that's pushing you around so that now you can begin to transform emotions when they come in present time. Present tense, it's natural. There's not anyone that you're not going to get to a place where you never get upset or you never get sad. We're all emotions. We're all dynamics. We're always evolving. So the only way to evolve is to keep feeling and getting a little bit of resistance and then going in flow state again. It's like learning how to drive a Ferrari. I've never driven a Ferrari, but like imagine it's very touchy. It's a very high-end car. You have to learn how to put it in reverse and then brake it and then go on the gas, right? It's the same thing with your emotions. It's like you resist things, you feel kind of crappy, and you clear it and transform it, and then you go into flow state and you go zooming ahead like a fast Ferrari. And you have to learn how to use the gears. If a Ferrari only went forward, you wouldn't be able to drive it. You have to learn how to reverse it. You've got to learn how to put it in different gears. You've got to learn what these emotions are. Your emotions, you're always going to have emotions. They're a beautiful thing. You need to use your emotions to energize what you want to create in your life. And so in this, I'm just knowing the truth right now as we come into this week's universal law, which is the universal law of vibration. The truth is the universal law and everything everywhere may listen to your words, but what the universal law is listening to, your subconscious mind, everyone is listening to is the vibration. So you can pretend to be positive, but if your vibration is not that, it's not going to be, the vibrational match in your life. Everything's vibration. All things, all words, everything is vibration. And so let's just take a deep breath together. I recognize there is one divine consciousness, the I am, God source within. And I recognize as this pierces through into this universe, into this relative universe, it is a high, high ethereal vibration. And as this density comes down into the 5D and the 3D realm, into the physical form, I recognize it's heavy, is a slower vibration. So this is what I know for sure. There's only one distinction to learn and master in this lifetime. And it is no longer to hand your power over to the external world and only look to source within to create your abundance, to create love, to create in that flow state. And so it's constantly the Taurus field going out into the world, getting dense, having resistance, and coming back into the source and into flow state and really coming into that highest vibration over and over again. And in this, I'm knowing lives beyond our wildest dreams. I'm knowing abundance. I'm knowing vitality. I'm knowing absolute creating, exponentially, infinitely creating lives that we love. And so I just simply know this highest vibration, the highest version of yourself, which is the innermost version of yourself. Every cell and molecule is a Taurus field, and that externally is a deeper, denser, lower vibration. As we come within to God's source, we come to the higher frequency and we tap into the divine source. We tap into the 0 point field. We tap into that truth of who we are, which is that true essence that actually creates our emotions. It creates every vibration. It creates everything, every experience, every dynamic. And so I'm just knowing a great life of mastery, energetic mastery, mindset mastery. I know right here, right now, the energy and the emotions are expressing the highest expression of you. It is done in the highest vibration with the greatest good for the greatest all. As together we say, and so it is, and so it is. Okay, Divine Loves, a little bit back into E4. You are welcome to come into Society. It is officially open to come into support and just have an amazing community. Get a workshop every month and a goal setting call and do 30-day challenges and get the universal law lessons every week and things like that. That link's below Society. You can become a founding member right now. And then also you can come in and you can get trained. You can actually come into the SBPC program and you can actually do all your work. Getting trained in E4 method in current life regressions, past life regressions, and then also doing all your emotional mastery work with E4 and your E4 quantum manifesting work as well. So you can actually get that work done for yourself and you can actually get trained in it and learn how to do it and certified in it as well. Okay. Have a beautiful, blessed day, you guys. You can also grab the free Universal Law calendar below, and we can learn these lessons every week. Share this podcast out with your friends, and we are going to know the truth together. Okay. Have a beautiful, blessed day, you guys, and may you live the truth.